Okay, our first drill that we're going to work on here is going to be our center contact. So we're going to use the rubber tee here in the mat, and I'm going to start with my pitching wedge. So the progression is going to be 5 sets with the pitching wedge, and then I'm going to do 5 sets with a mid iron, a 7 iron, and then you do 5 sets with your driver. So here's how it's going to look. You're going to set up to the rubber tee. I'm going to have the rubber tee right in the middle of the club face, and we're going to go through a progression of missing on the inside. So I'm going to swing, and I'm going to intentionally miss the rubber tee on the inside. Then I'm going to miss on the outside, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit the rubber tee. All right, so that would be 1 rep of that. You're going to do it again, so 3 times would be your second rep, and do 5 sets of that. So you'll have a total of 15 swings, and then you're going to switch clubs. If you don't have a spot here at home where you've got a rubber tee and a mat to hit off of, our other option, and you can even just do this on the grass, we'll do this with baby powder. So I'll put like a little line down. Hopefully you can see that okay with the camera. And just as I did with the rubber tee, I'm going to set up with my club right behind the baby powder. And on the first swing, I'm going to miss on the inside. So I'm looking to make a swing. Ideally, if you can brush the mat, that's great. But I didn't want to see any powder puff up on that one because I was missing on the inside. This one's going to be on the outside. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit the powder. Okay, so working with those extremes of inside, outside, hit it. You've heard me say it before. That's really it's going to really help awaken your senses and get you nice and focused on being able to control where you're putting the club. So do 5 sets of that with the pitching wedge, 5 with the mid iron, and then 5 with the driver. Okay, with the driver, if you're using powder, don't worry about getting a puff of powder. Obviously, we don't want the driver to be hitting the ground, but you can still do your inside, outside, hit it. So after you've done those, our second piece, our second set for our center contact, in my prior video, I said I was going to use some painter's tape, but what I've actually done is I've just pulled out a couple pieces of mulch from the garden. And you're going to start by putting them fairly wide apart. I'll use the powder just since it's here. So I've got a good 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches on either side of the toe and the heel of my club here. So start nice and wide, no big deal whatsoever. And you're going to take your swings, and we're going to, if you're successful 5 times, so I'm going to swing right in between the 2 pieces of mulch. I do that 5 times. If I'm successful, meaning I didn't hit the mulch, I'm going to then move it a little bit closer. So I'm just shrinking my gates as I go here. Okay, and then you do 5, move it a little closer. If you actually happen to hit, go ahead and let's say I hit one of these pieces of mulch. All right, so that's the feedback I'm looking for, but I don't want to have happen. Just reset that up again, and then just stick to that sizing where you're at. If you're not really getting any swings through there without success, then just widen that gap a little bit again. All right, so do that for maybe a good 20 swings as well. Get that feel for really narrowing your target as you go. You get to the point where maybe you have only about a 1/2 inch on either side. That would be fantastic. All right, so that's going to be our drill, our first drill for center contact, and we'll get on to the next one here.